Welcome to Shadow Daddy Groupies, a podcast where we read fantasy books. We're Raven and Kelly. Get ready for us to bring you our unhinged book recommendations and even worse taste in men.
Welcome to Shadow Daddy Groupies. I'm Raven.
I'm Kelly, and today we are doing two books. The first two books of the series, Lies of Lena and Sins of Silas by Kaylie Snow.
Little duology here.
It's not a duology.
Oh wait, that's right. It's 6 books.
She's gonna do. She said online that it's gonna be a 6-book series. I think I also read that the first 3 are gonna mostly follow this batch of characters, Lena, Silas, and the crew, and then the next 3 are gonna focus more on the other characters. So,
Kind of how it goes.
yeah, I think a lot of authors do that. So I read the books first, and I recommended them to Raven. And before we get too far in how we like these books, I want to do my 2-minute no spoiler summary.
Take it away, Kelly.
So this is mostly the summary of the first book, but we'll get to it. Okay. Lies of Lena follows Lena, a 16-year-old mage living with her mother in the outer circle of Otacia. Mages are similar to witches, and they must hide their magic or risk persecution. Lena and her mom make their living selling baked goods and medicinal tinctures, which Lena delivers to the inner circle. On one of these deliveries, she meets Quill, and they begin a friendship. He teaches her how to fight, and we follow their budding teenage romance. Silas is the crown prince who has been hidden away at the palace since he was 5 years old, after his younger sister was kidnapped and murdered. Silas and Lena's lives intertwine as we watch the characters grow. Around their 18th birthdays, a devastating loss causes the king to outlaw all mages. The aftermath of these changes is seen when we fast forward 5 years. Now Silas hunts down and kills mages, and on one of his raids, he is reunited with Lena. How will the knowledge of finding his long-lost friend has been hiding her magic change his world view?
Woo! Hundreds of spoilers, so if you want to read it.
Yeah, we're about to go into all the spoilers. So before we go into all the spoilers,
if you want to read it, back the fuck up now.
Raven, how did you like this book? Do you recommend everyone read this book?
So this is my favorite book of the year.
Okay.
Not even joking, hands down. It's written very well, very detailed. It was written like I could picture everything, like every side character. It wasn't like just bland. I don't know. I like it better than Silverleaf. I like it better than Shield of Sparrows.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I really liked the book, and I think I recommended it to you before I even had started the second book. But then by the time I got into the second book, I was like, okay, this is definitely something Raven's gonna like. I was reading it and I was like, oh, Raven's gonna like this. I also really, really liked the book.
It was plotting really well too.
It is spicy. But I feel like it's also very plot heavy and for very like the characters are great. The plot is plotting. So even though there is a lot of spice, it's not lacking on the plot. With that said,
I liked the little like little mysteries that kept coming up. What do you call them?
Easter eggs.
You guess you say Easter eggs. I don't really consider them Easter eggs, but I like how like it randomly you're like, oh my God, like surprised, little
Like
surprises.
plot twists.
Ugh, there, we'll just say that plot twist. Um, there were so many. Like they just what? And I was like, I loved it, and I was living for
Okay,
it, girl.
but there was a couple plot twists that you definitely saw coming. For
Yeah, but it
example,
was written great, even though I saw it coming.
okay, um, I think the writing got better as the book went on, in my opinion. Um, and the some of the plot twists were a little bit predictable, but you were right. There were some where I was like, "Oh, okay, that was great," and surprising. So, for example, I knew who Quill was like the
Yeah.
second they met.
Yeah, I think everybody does, but it's just
But maybe it was supposed to be that way. Like it wasn't hidden very long either. Like it
the the
she found they found out.
anxiety and anticipation of her and how she finds out is what you're like holding on to, even though you know who it is.
Okay.
It,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
it
true.
was written well. And I will say, when I started the book, the beginning of the book was great. I was like, I liked it. I was like, well, I'm in. Ah.
Sorry. My fault. I was trying to wipe the hair off the screen and it just flicked.
Um, no, I was definitely like it didn't take long for me to be like, oh, this is gonna be good. It has a very good storyline.
Yeah. Um okay, so a couple of things that you and I had talked about um on the con side of this book. So the first half of the book, they meet at 16. He might be like a year older than her. I can't remember. They're about the same age. And so there's a lot of spice between teenagers, which I know wasn't your favorite.
Because they're both so young, it's still awkward. It's like I'm
Okay.
intruding, and I don't feel like I should be reading about these babies doing this.
Okay. As a 30 something reading about 17-year-old, 16-year-olds, I get what you're saying. Um, but it is very kind of like essential to the plot, right? I I understand why she did it that way because when about halfway through the book, it fast forwards about 5 years. So now they're in their early 20s. And you have they both become very different people because of the trauma that they go through. But in order to kind of like make their connection believable, she spends a lot of time with them in their initial teenage romance. And so, like, you're rooting for them because you know that what they had was real. And it kind of like invokes your own first
Hmm.
love sort of feelings.
I mean,
The only thing I would have to say though is the sex that they were having at 16. There is no way 2 16-year-olds were having that kind of sex. Like,
hold the hell on. I have a note from when I first started this, and you're like, oh, I didn't need notes. I was like, bitch, I'm taking some notes. This is good. My first note was pleasures herself at 16. Geez, I don't think I found my bean till I was like 18. Like, God,
okay.
she went into detail. The girl, she went, laid it down. She's like, I'm gonna get off to the thought of Quill.
Okay, I don't think I waited till I was 18. But my point
Just
is
saying.
my point is that there was like some very advanced uh sex happening between these 2 16-year-olds that I definitely was not having as a teenager. I was like, yeah, I don't know about that.
I have a I
But
have
it
a
was it was good. It was well written. And
spicy. The spice was good. The
there
spice is
was
written really well.
there was a lot of it, but I don't feel like it necessarily took away from the plot in any way. Um yeah, it was just
I have another thing that I wrote down.
go
It
ahead.
was like a it was a little thing in the book, and She said it. Says, however, my desire had nothing to do with caring about magic and everything to do with getting laid. I don't know why I like that. And then I put word. Oh man.
Uh, okay, so we find out pretty quickly that Quill is actually Silas, the prince, and that he was just trying to hide who he was so that he could
Be
feel
normal.
normal and that, because everyone treats him different because he's the prince and he found this girl who doesn't treat him the same way that everyone else treats him. And he feels for the first time that he found someone that really truly sees him as he really is. And he tries to explain that to her when she's upset that he's lied to her. He's like, no, this person, Quill, that I've been the last few months that we've been together, that's who I truly am. And they make up and decide that they can only be together until he's 18 and he comes out as the prince to the whole world because he's in hiding. And she's like, well, there's no way that you and I could be together once everyone finds out you're the prince.
Social
Like,
status.
social status, but also because she's lying to him. He
Mm.
doesn't know that she's a mage. So with that said, she's also hiding a secret from him. And her mom's like, this is a terrible idea. You guys are going to be together for a whole year or another year or whatever. And then just like part ways, peace. That's not going to happen. Well, uh, his mom is also on board, but they don't tell his dad because his dad is kind of a horrible person
Yes.
and just kind of
Ulrich.
keeps getting more and more horrible throughout the series. So,
Ulrich.
yeah, his mother is murdered, and at the time of her murder, they think that a mage has murdered her. And so, with that, the king's excuse to basically go in and kill all the mages. If you're found out to have magic, you get murdered and you get arrested and hung or arrested and burned,
Mhm.
and turns his son into a killer. He now has to hunt down all the mages. Well, in order to protect themselves, Lena and her mother fake their deaths. So not only does this poor guy lose his mom, but like right after that, within like a day or two, the love of his life um is found dead. He doesn't know that she's really not dead, but they
They,
fake their own deaths in a house fire.
yeah, and it was pretty graphic and sad and
It
just a
was
little
so sad.
emotional. It was
It
a little
was so
emotional right there.
emotional.
But and thank you for writing that because I love a book that gives me emotion.
Yeah, I think it's at the very beginning of the second book. It might even be the prologue where she writes from his point of view how he found out
Mm.
that Lena has died in a house fire, and it is heart-wrenching.
Hmm.
It's pretty emotional. You really feel for this guy, but it's also part of the process of turning him into this um like mage killer, you know.
Right.
He goes through all these horrible things in a very short period of time, and he goes from this very sweet cinnamon roll, boy to this really hardened um man, like overnight almost. And it's
Let's
not overnight, we find out later in the book, but he does change a lot. So when they come back together 5 years later, like they hate each other. And for both for because of the trauma that they went through and some of the decisions that they've made. And so it's very
I just
like,
felt, I just felt bad for him though. Like after
yeah.
5 years, he runs into her. I mean, that's gotta be heart wrenching. But I like
Yeah, he
so they
is like he's thrown for a loop. He's like, what the fuck is going on? You're alive and you're a mage, like what the fuck? did you, like, at one point he's like, did you kill my mother? And she's like, no, I didn't kill her. Like, that wasn't what
Um,
happened.
so he's married, and then all they end up in this group because we kind of just explained at the beginning what the book is. I want to talk about the details.
Okay, can we hold
Yes.
on, pause? So this series online is labeled a dark romance.
Hmm.
And you and I have talked about this. And I even said this like before you started reading. I was like, "Hey, this is labeled a dark romance." And there are some uh elements in this book that are definitely heavy, but I don't know if I would consider this Raven dark.
No,
And so you and I had this conversation, and I want to like bring this point back around because I think it was a good point that I made. Is that, well, one, after reading Liv Xander, my my level of dark is different. And there are very similar plot devices, including essay and things like that, that
hmm
happen in this series, that are very similar, like I said, to what happens in the Liv Xander books. But I think the difference between this and Liv Xander Dark, and why I don't consider it like dark, dark, is like the reasoning for putting those in the book. So in this series, I feel like they happen so that, so first of all, when Lena is SA'd, I feel like she puts that in there to show how much Silas has changed, because then it's followed up by um some like mutilation and what's that other word I'm looking for? Um
After we talked about this, after you we talked about the whole dark romance thing, and I finished the second book. The second book, I was like, I could see this being um why it's
dark
called a dark.
dark.
Yeah. No, but I could definitely see why it would be considered a dark romance. And after I wrapped it all up, I was like, yeah, this qualifies.
Okay, but what the point I'm trying to make
Yeah,
is that I feel like it's used to kind of like show how much he has changed from this like cinnamon roll lovey-dovey boy into this kind of like broken man, versus like the way that Liv Xander uses these plot devices, um, I feel like are more uh,
sadistic.
to
His
show, yeah, they're more sadistic, and to show how sadistic this, like the characters are, versus
history. It built up like his story because it was part of his childhood. So
I feel like in this series she uses the kind of very similar events to kind of just show his character development and his feelings towards Lena. They're not necessarily like sadistic, they're more of like
yeah, this one.
reactionary.
Yeah, these aren't. But yeah, yeah, these aren't sadistic. Oh
Though
yeah,
his dad, the things that his dad does to him are pretty sadistic.
book two. Yes, absolutely. That's why I said like after because I didn't get that far when we
I
last
know,
talked about it.
and I didn't want to spill the beans.
Oh man, and I was like, no, 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 no.
I was trying really hard not to spill the beans on that one.
God, now I just have so much to unpack. Man, I cried last night like a baby, and I think I cried for like an hour. Like I would
Aw.
stop, and then I would it's like, no. I was like, it felt like my friend died. Okay,
I know. And I was like, you better read the epilogue or you're going to be in a world of
and
pain.
I was like, oh, I hate Arabella, and you're like, oh, you'll end up liking her. Now I fucking hate her.
I did say that. I said that she has an important role in the second book. I made, yep.
You did say I
Uh-uh.
have it on film. I have it on film. You did say that you kind of liked her. Yeah. But I think that might have
Oh,
been
yeah.
before
I kind
you
of liked
found
her.
out.
So there's like this push and pull of like you want Lena and Silas to end up together, but Silas is actually married, and you're like, okay, well, of course I'm gonna hate his new wife. And then in she's not that horrible in the beginning
Yeah, you like
the
her. You start
of the
liking her.
book. But you also don't really want them to end up together. But you also you kind of want her to have her own love story. And there is a character that's introduced, and you're kind of hoping that maybe Silas and Lena end up together and Arabella ends up
With
with
Merrick.
Merrick, because there's something going on there. And you're like, oh, well, like you're kind of hoping that maybe if Silas dumps his wife because she's not that horrible, that at least she can have her own love story,
You
right?
want that so bad. You want
You
them to
want it so
switch.
bad. And then at the end of the second book, she fucking betrays everybody. So even though
Oh,
you end up liking her by in the second book and you want good things for her, she ends up doing something horrible.
I love
And you're
how
like,
I
ah.
love how the author like as Lena was growing to like her, we were also growing to like her. And then this little fucking bitch.
And then Arabella not only just stabs Lena and Silas and Merrick in the back, she
Oh,
stabs us in the back
everybody,
too.
everybody. And
She just stabs everybody in the back, readers included. You're like, wait, I was on your team.
I liked Merrick.
I do. I like Merrick and I like Roland.
I like Roland too.
And you know who
I
else I like?
Evan,
What?
who?
Um, I hold on. I like Torin. Even though he's not a huge
Yeah,
part, I like
his
Torin.
he the way that the way that it was mentioned about his age and in this a couple times about him being older, like
But he
me.
waited. He waited.
No, but I'm saying like the way it was mentioned that because he's older than they are. So me being
Hmm.
my age, I was my older to me is like maybe he's like in his 40s, but to them,
No,
I
he's like
know, I know, I
20
know.
something.
I know, but I mean, I kind of picture my characters or the characters kind of more like relative and more like me and shut up. They're not 16, okay? They're 32.
Okay, yeah. So he is, I don't know, 8 years older or 6 years older. And so when he runs away with Lena and her mom, because he's also a mage in hiding, there's some like attraction there that he does not follow up on. Instead, he is her friend. He helps her through like some horrible times in her life. And um he keeps saying like we can't be together because you and Silas are soul ties, which is basically fated mates. And he
Yay!
knows that. And they have like one night together. And after years and years of like this connection that they basically both don't act on. And I feel really bad for him and I want good things for him. And when
He's
they get back together, I was still kind of rooting for him.
I was not rooting for anybody but Silas. I was very serious about that one. See.
Lena has sex with more than just Silas in this series. And
Rolling.
honestly, I don't mind
We
it.
don't I didn't mind it at all. I was like, fuck yes, this is great. This is great. This is right up my alley. And but then I was like, oh my God, you fucking whore. Oh my God. I was literally like I was freaking out, like reading the book. I'm like, are you kidding me right now? Lena, get your shit together. Oh no. Oh, Silas now?
I mean, okay.
I loved it.
I was here for it. Of course I was rooting for Silas and Lena to be together, but um I ended up really liking Roland. And I think in one of the things I read, uh the author makes a joke about how she wrote a side character that ends up being like almost like taking over the whole series because he's so fun. And she's like, I'm looking at you, Roland. And I think in her and what I think, if I remember correctly, when I read that, she was talking about writing the third book. So Roland is going to be a big part of the third book, which I'm excited about. Maybe he'll get his own love story.
Man, I will. Mm. So male and male,
Merrick.
M and
Oh,
M.
MMF.
No, M. That that moment during the MMF,
Okay, yes, yeah.
or
Hmm.
was the MM? I was like, oh, I'm usually not into this, but I'm into this. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was like, is he doing that? Is he really gonna do that? Oh my god! Oh, he did it. He's doing it. I was like, fuck yeah. I don't.
I
Mindy's.
don't have any problems with MM or MMF, so
Yeah. I mean, it's not my preference to see like watch. It doesn't do anything for me,
it's
but
a
this
preference for me.
it just doesn't do anything for me, but this
It does something for me. I find it hot, man. I don't care.
Kylie,
I'm
man.
into it.
Yeah, I was like, what? Maybe I need to reconsider. That
Give
was
me
great.
two hot guys kissing. I'm into it. I don't care. Hot people kissing is hot people kissing.
Yeah, because she ends up in a little threesome. That was
With
very
Torin
and
and Roland.
Roland.
So
And
Roland is bi, and I so that's kind of what makes it work, I think.
Torin just I feel like he's just comfortable with his sexuality and doesn't give a shit. I feel like he's very laid back and just like whatever. But he was talking through her mind and that was so fucking hot.
So hot,
Oh
right?
my God. I was like, she's like, he's like, you want him to do that, don't you? And I'm like, oh, I want him to do it. And yeah. And then he like relayed the message to him through his mind. So like they all had this conversation, but
Yeah, they were having a
telepathic.
very consensual, telepathic conversation while the three of them were together, which was really doing it for me.
Like,
I do love some consent.
yeah. Oh my God. Oh, that was good. I think that's probably the best scene as far as spice because oh my God,
It was a good scene.
well, I
Yeah.
I like I want to talk about there's one part also that I was just like, whoo, when she was on Torin and Roland was um eating groceries. I
Jesus
don't
Christ.
I mean, tossing some salad. I don't but yeah, I was like, oh, jealous, jealous, jealous.
Yeah, she did a good job. Um,
I could picture it
so
so well too.
yeah, she did a good job.
I'm blushing.
You're blushing. So anyway, I love Torin, and I feel terrible because he has these feelings for Lena.
And
Uh,
love.
he's been like, he has them for 5 years and can't do anything about them. And then he gets this one amazing time and then has to like leave, and then he gets his redemption, and then basically he's like, sorry, I did that. Uh but you still belong to Silas. So I'm gonna back off. And I'm like, dude, they're like, I just feel so bad for him. And I like him and I want him to be
I was
happy.
cool with him until he brought up soul ties, and then once Fated Mates trope I really like. And once that was established, I was like, oh,
Okay, I don't want to ruin
going
this
for it.
for you, but somewhere on the internet, the author says that in the third book, there's going to be a rejected fated mates tropes. Someone is
And
going to
it's
reject someone.
Silas. First off, he could be dead. But Silas isn't going to reject her.
What do you
And
mean Silas could be dead? Did you read the epilogue?
I know, but you don't know 100%.
Yes, you do.
I know. Listen, I cried so freaking hard. Like
That's
I
why I
was
told you to go read the
I
epilogues.
know, and I was like bawling my eyes out finishing this book. And then I get to the epilogue finally, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Thank God.
Yeah. Read the epilogue, girl.
Like, I didn't even realize I was reading the epilogue. I just was so enthralled. I was like, but I was crying hysterically. My nose was running. I mean,
I know you posted a picture of yourself crying.
I want people to know I was serious.
So you had also asked me yesterday if I cried in this book, the second book. Um, and there's something that happens in the second book. Well, there's something that happens that they talk about in the second book that I was actually like going through at the same time that I was reading it, which was really fucking weird. I was like, is this really happening right now? Am I like reading about this while this is happening to me? So I feel like I was just an emotional wreck in general while reading these books for reasons outside of reading the books.
Yeah, that's a lot to unpack. That's a lot of emotions for you there. But I mean, I bawled. Why, Silas? I was not mm. Let's talk about this one part in the book that you told me is really weird. And when I get to it, I
Okay.
will know. And let me tell you, I got to it, and the first thing I was like, what the like I literally was sitting there, and I was like, what? My
This
eyebrow shot up, and I was like, "Ooh, this is it."
Okay, so this book, I think I rated the first one 5 stars, the second one 5 or 6 stars, except for this one part. And I was reading this and I was like, obviously she put this in here because she wants to build onto it in the next part, like in the and later in the series. But I read it and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Stop. This is so dumb. Why did you put this in here?
Like,
You're ruining
what
it
is that?
for
What?
me.
Listen, guys, I don't even want to talk about that. Let that be a surprise if you haven't read this,
I
because
was like, this book was 5 stars, Chef's Kiss, and then this one scene, I was like,
ah,
no,
I took it down a point, like a half
stop
a star.
it.
Um,
This has nothing to do with anything. But
I'm,
obviously it does.
I that is not what I was expecting at all. Whenever you were saying that, and I got there, and I was like, well, I just was flabbergasted. I'm not even joking. I was literally,
So do you feel the same way that I feel that that should have been taken out?
I still can't even comprehend it. I'm still like, what bitches? XOXO, drive safe. Like, I was like, whoa, where
I'm
are we?
I'm wondering, okay, my theory is that she's trying to maybe uh link this up with a whole other realm. Kind of,
Wow.
okay, so sorry, let me
Yeah.
backtrack. You know how in the SJM universe, there's this
Hmm.
theory that that Throne of Glass, Akatar, and Crescent City are basically like realms laying on top of each other, and people are going to be able to like travel through the realms.
Hmm.
I feel
Yeah.
like that's what's going. She's setting something up like that.
I'm here for it. Whatever it is,
I
but
don't know if I'm here for it.
I was a little fucking crazy, okay? A little
It was
crazy. It
it
caught me
was a
off
little
guard.
it definitely caught me off guard. I was like, no, stop. What are you doing?
What is this?
What is this?
But you know what? We
Trust the
can
process. I hopefully
we will
once we
get
get to
to
the
ask
third
her.
plus book, I don't think she's going to answer us because she's not going to want to ruin what's going to happen next.
Well, if you have any questions for her, let us know, because we will be
We're
talking to
trying really
her.
hard to get her on the podcast,
She
and I
already
think it
said she
might
would.
happen. I
So
know, but we got to line everything up.
to listen to us rant for an hour, I'm leaving it. So we're landing this plane. Bye.
Okay, now that we're done,
Are we? Are we landing? Are we
We're
still
done. Now we're
okay?
done. I want to bring up something else. We're done. Wait.
We're not.